Hello and welcome back to Conquest Gaming Club. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are having fun on rails. We're back with not an unboxing but a review of a stock car, and the car that we're going to review today is none other than Continental GT3. This is from Scalextric, not Carrera. I was about to say Carrera, but it is a Scalextric vehicle. We're gonna, chip it. So in order to make it digital and to make it run on my Carrera track, I needed to get a chip for it. So the chip that I selected was a Carson chip. So this is a digital plug that will switch the Scalextric analog car to the digital car, right? So this is a part one of a two-part series because not only did I buy this Scalextric car, but I also bought the C8R here. And next week we're gonna put the C8R from Scalextric versus the C8R from Carrera, and we're gonna look at the differences between those two cars, right? But today it's all about the Continental GT3, and so let's get to it. Let's take a look at this Continental GT3 here. I'm really lucky to have this car. I really wanted this car. I've always wanted this car, and I'm really excited to get it. It did not come in a box. I believe this car was pulled out one of the packs that Scalextric had sent out with GT3 cars. There was an AMG, and this Continental GT was part of it, but it had never been run. So, or at least I've been told it has never been run. It doesn't look like it has. But yeah, so we picked up this car. It is one thing that I can say right off the bat, it's a matte finish. So you guys know me and matte cars. I love matte cars. And this is a matte military green, which is so iconic for a British car. And just having it I'm just excited. So before we get into it, you can notice that this car runs in the European Endurance Championship, or the DECRA ADAC Championship here. This is part one of 3 Continental GTs run by Team ABT out of Germany. So it's a German racing team racing British cars. Pretty cool. Out of the front of the vehicle, so we have this beautiful wide stance, very big grille with the number 9 right into the middle of it, which I think is really cool. On either side we get the, let's just see if I can focus a bit better here. There we go. So on either side we get these iconic Bentley Continental GT lights, the little ovals. I really like the way you can actually see the LEDs through there, but it's got the little details around the lights, like the little like mini lights, or the representation of mini lights around them. So it's really cool. As you sweep up to the hood, we get 2 really large active intakes here. I'll put close-ups, and then we get, I really like that the livery on this. You get a lot of this lime green on the forest, matte forest green on here. So you get the GT3 logo on the side of the hood here, and then we get the numbering system from the DECRA series. We get 2 active intakes on either side. We sweep up into the windshield, and at the top is the Certina logo. The cool thing about this is the driver is on the right hand side of the vehicle, which is not common in North America where I live. So that's kind of cool. So it's very much, as the British would say, on the right side of the vehicle. And inside you get the driver. He's covered by a roll cage and matte back, but the driver is very simple. Not a lot of elements of detail on the driver, just a plain white racing suit and a white helmet. The driver seems to be pretty much complete or cut off at the knees. So that's one of the differences between the Carrera and the Scalextric so far. I've noticed there's a lot more interior detail in the Scalextric cars, or deeper. So and then we get the side profile. So very simple. Not a lot of aero on this car. Besides, you get a nice big front splitter, but on the side it's pretty much smooth and flat. There's not a lot of air intakes going into the rear of the vehicle. We get a side exhaust port here. We get a little bit of venting back here for the air to come out of the I guess, the disc brakes and exit the vehicle, but we don't have an air intake and our active air intake in the rear here, coming into the vehicle here. So pretty interesting. And then as we exit, we have a little air intake in the back here, where I guess this should have been active. I think it should be. I don't know, but there was no active aero there. But I really like the livery once again, the movement of the lines, all the logos going down here in the white makes for a very cool look. Very excited to have this car actually. And when we look at the roof of the vehicle, we get the nice big Bentley logo on there. Then we got the ABT, which is the actual race team. Like I said, this is a race team out of Germany, and they ran 3 Continental GTs in the 2016 season, which is where this car is from. As you sweep back to the rear windscreen, nothing through it. You can see a little bit of the roll cage to the back here. And then we sweep up into the spoiler, which got the Mobile 1 logo on it. When we look at the rear of the vehicle, once again, typical to GT3s, lots of fins in the rear diffuser. And we get, the iconic Bentley rear end. Nice big set of lights there, tail lights, and the cool thing about this car, I believe it has its full lighting, but one thing that I have concerns is whether the lighting will work with a Carson Chip, but we'll figure that out once we install it. So next, take a look inside and look at the chassis and see if we can spot some differences right off the bat. Let's take a look at the chassis on this vehicle. So when we turn this vehicle over, we get the little door here. I believe this is where we're going to install the chip. And it makes it easy access to the chip installation. So we'll take a look at that in just a few moments. We get the guide pin. So something I noticed is the guide is a lot smaller if you compare this. And I believe it's a little bit shallower than the Carrera guide. So I don't know if that's going to throw, if it's going to cause any problems on the track, but we'll find out when we put it down there. The other thing I noticed is this looks like a sidewinder configuration, which is very different from Carrera cars, which are more inline. So this is a sidewinder or transverse mount engine, right? So there's 4 screws holes to remove, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or if we pop that off, we can remove the chassis from the body. So let's take a look at the body. So like I said, you can see that this the driver is pretty much whole, just cut off just above the ankles here. Another thing that I noticed is there's a lot of weight saving because it's not a completely closed interior, but you can see right through to the interior and to the top of the vehicle. Which is different from Carrera, because Carrera actually seals off everything inside, but they also cut off the driver just below the shoulder so they can get all that access. It's kind of cool because, when you look at the chassis, normally the Carrera chip sits right here, and that for there's a lot less room because once again the motor is also mounted in line, so the motor's turned sideways, mounted in line, so there's a lot less room here. So you can see why the Scalextric body has so much space in it, or is able to drop down the body and put more of a greenhouse in there, as opposed to Carrera, right? When we look at the chassis, it's pretty simple. We got an LED board here with the 2 LEDs. We got a little connector here, taking the power from the braids to the chip here. The LED lights also, we have rear tail lights here coming to the chip here, or there's this pre-existing Scalextric chip here. So it seems like everything comes to this heart of the vehicle here, which is what we're going to replace with the Carson chip, and then goes to the motor, and then we get simple plastic gears, plastic spur gear here, and everything seems to work. It's a very simple chassis. So without further ado, let's put this car back together and let's take a look at the Carson chip. Let's install it, and then let's take it trackside. All right, let's take a look at this Carson chip. So let's unbox it. Simple tab here, remove it. And inside we get a bag And in the bag we have the chip in there and some wiring, and we get some instructions. So really cool. The instructions come in a variety of languages. Obviously I'm only interested in English, but if you speak Spanish, Japanese, I believe, and German, obviously this chip comes from Germany. Carson is a German manufacturer, so the chip comes from Germany. Yep, there's instructions in there. So very simple, nothing fancy in there in the box. So let's take a look at this chip right here. All right, so this is the chip. Let's see if we can focus here. There we go. So this is the chip. So you can see the LED. There's a little LED right there, right? And there's the chip itself, right? So now, according to the instructions, I do not need to install the LED cables that come in here unless when I install this chip and I put this car on the track, the lights don't work. In that case, they say that Carrera might have put a resistor in play, and in order to bypass the resistor, I'd have to install these wires, which already have the connectors pre-installed on them, so they go in there and then route that to the LEDs. But hopefully we don't have to do that, and this is a complete plug and play. So let's install the chip. So once again, like I said, it's very easy to do with this car. All we have to do is open up this door here. Right. So when you open up the door, there's a little connector here. You just got to pull out this connector. Gentle. Just pull out on the plastic if you can. There you go. So we pull out this connector right here, and you should notice that it's all the wires come to this, and we install it onto the Carson chip. So on the Carson chip, you can see there's a little groove where the connector goes in. You can't get it wrong. So in this case, the connector just slides in. So we'll push that in there. All right, and then we put the door back on. And just like that, the car has gone from analog to digital. All right, put back the door in. Voila, we have a Carrera Digital chip in a Scalextric car, and it took nothing more than a minute. So pretty cool. I'm very excited. So it's time to take this car, put it on the track, and see what it does. Alright guys, well, back from the track. So once again, chipped up the Continental GT3 here. Let's see, focus, there we go. Focusing right there. Chipped it up, Carson Chip, put it on the track, it works. A couple of restrictions with the Carson Chip. You can adjust the speed, you can adjust the braking, you can change lanes with it. All great, everything works there. What you can't do, you cannot use it as a pace car. You cannot use it as a ghost car. It seems like the chip is only active when you're depressing the trigger. So it seems like the power is cut from the vehicle when the trigger is not pressed. When pressed, everything works. Cool thing, the LED lights worked. So I didn't have to install any of the wiring that was sent in the Carrera package. In the Carson package. Didn't have to install any of those wires. Everything worked perfectly on the chip itself. But once again, lights only light up when you depress the trigger. So no trigger, no lights. So that would be a little bit of an issue when we're racing digital, because the lights really give us feedback from the cars. I don't know if the pit lane works. I do not think so. So if we're running with pits, I don't think the car will be able to race. But all in all, it's really cool that I can actually take a Scalextric car, chip it really quickly. And the cool thing about the chip is that you don't need a lot of chips. I got 2 chips, and I think that's more than enough for any Scalextric cars I have, because it's as long as they come with the doors at the bottom, it's a quick fix. You know, remove the old door, put the new door in, and boom, we got a digitally active car. Scalextric car on the track. So it's great for digital racing. As long as we don't have pits, we can use it, race with it, and have some fun. So let's look at put the car on the DDT track and did a run. Now I had a hard time letting this car stay on track, because I said to you, like, I noticed when we looked at the chassis, the guide pin was a little bit small. And I believe that it came in play when I was trying to test this car. So the car has a lot more potential than what it shows here. This 5.718 seconds. It's very low time, I think, for this car. This car has a lot more potential. But how do we unlock it? And what I've done is I've ordered some of the Slot Invasions guide conversion kits. So once those come in, I'll install it back on this car and we'll do another run, and we'll see if that changes anything. But for now, based on the stock guide pin that it came with, and just the Carson chip attached, it did a 5.718, which is, I think, slow, and I'm pretty sure does not represent what this car can do. So when we look at the leaderboard here, another thing to note is you can notice the weight of the car is only 95 grams, which is a lot lighter than Carrera cars. It was a lot longer than I was expecting, 153 millimeters from tip of the front splitter to the rear spoiler. It's pretty long. Standard wheel width, 60 millimeters. And then 86 millimeter wheelbase is a little bit longer than we're used to with the Carrera cars. So once again, we only installed the digital chip. Otherwise, it was stock, and the run that I got is 5.718 seconds. And if we look at the leaderboard, unfortunately, that was going to put it far behind the leaders right now. So I believe it's on page 3. And it slots in between the Sauber Mercedes that I tested. This was an analog car that we tested. And the Bentley slots in between that and the Mustang GTY. So not very fast right now, and it's totally, behind what a GT3 car should be doing on my track. But I believe once I install the slot invasion guides, it will be a lot faster. So look forward to bringing that content to you. In fact, I might wait on doing the Corvette comparisons until I get that as well. So let's talk about my final thoughts on this vehicle. So what are my final thoughts on the vehicle? I'm happy. Happy that I found this car, happy to add it to my collection. I really wanted a Continental GT. I do race
sim racing, and one of the cars I do pick when I do race in sim is the Continental GT because I really like the car. So happy to have it. Happy to have it in the matte green livery once again as well. Super excited for that. Do I think there's a lot more potential? Yes, a hell of a lot more potential in this vehicle. We just need to unlock it. So the first thing that I'm doing right now is I got the guide pins coming from Slot Invasion. So Slot Invasion has some really cool guide pins. We use a lot of them in our digital racing right now. And so I've got a couple of different guide pins coming. I got the guide pins that converts to Scalextric. I also got some NSR guide pins because I want to start doing my NSR reviews, and I also got Reverse Slot guide pins as well coming as well for the Carrera Digital track. So once I install the guide pin, we'll put this car back on the track and see what it does. But let me know your thoughts on the vehicle. Have you guys got a Scalextric vehicle that you've chipped? What chip did you use? Did you use a Carson Chip? Give me your feedback on what you guys have done with this car, with these chips, and in general, let me know. What's your favorite? Is it Scalextric or Carrera? Let me know in the comments below. It's a discussion. It's just an opinion. Like I said, everything that I represent in my videos is really observations. I'm not really criticizing. I'm just observing what I see, expressing my joy, my sadness of what I find with the slot cars on the YouTube. It's just a way of expressing myself and contributing back to this awesome hobby and meeting a lot of you awesome hobbyists as well through doing this. So once again, thank you very much for watching. If you like this kind of content, remember that we release a video every week. Please like, please subscribe, and until I see you again, have fun on rails, guys. Take care.